Welcome to this Columbia College Chicago Library video. This video will focus on using SimplyAnalytics, a data and geographic database, to look at consumer market segments, that is, types of consumers that you may want to target with your business, and then overlay that information about where those groups of consumers live with what businesses exist in those locations. So let's take, for example, that you want to look at a particular group of consumers and then see whether there are businesses that would be competitors or potential collaborators with you there. So you could search for businesses of that type and see how many exist and where they're located. So let's get started. We're going to go to SimplyAnalytics by going to a research guide. You can also find the SimplyAnalytics in the databases. These are here in the quick links on the page. But we're going to go to the Entrepreneurship Research Guide, which will allow us to also access some other tools that are helpful for this project. All right, so SimplyAnalytics is located here. We're also going to use, you could always go back and review the CLARITAS segment details if you need to. We're also going to use NAICS codes to find businesses of a particular type. But let's start by getting into Statista. I've already opened Statista, and I do recommend that you view the earlier videos. One is called SimplyAnalytics Access and Basic Features, and the other is Finding Claritas PRIZM Premier Data in SimplyAnalytics. It will explain more thoroughly what those Claritas PRIZM segments are and how to locate them in SimplyAnalytics. When you start a new project in SimplyAnalytics, you always have to choose a location. I'm going to choose Chicago, and I have to select Chicago, Illinois. Think of the location that you choose as the container in which all the other units that you're going to compare exist. So if you choose Chicago, you could compare zip codes or census tracts. If you choose Cook County, you could compare towns within Cook County, including Chicago. If you choose Illinois, you could compare counties or congressional districts and so on. So I'm going to choose Chicago, Illinois. And notice that I'm being offered certain kinds of seed variables that are census and demographic data. So maybe I'll look at just the median household income and create a project. And the map appears displaying median household income by zip code. So you can always edit your legend. You can change these distributions if you want to make different distinctions between the different zip codes. Sometimes it helps to look at local quantiles. Quantiles are like the percentages that you want to look at, or the distribution of numbers here. Local quantiles will sometimes give you a more relevant comparison of, say, city neighborhoods to city neighborhoods versus rural country zip codes that exist throughout the country. Sometimes that helps, sometimes not so much. Okay, but what we really want to look at is to go over and find our market segments. Again, you want to view that earlier video to review what this all means. But we're going to look at Connected Bohemians. This is a group that I've identified as an interesting consumer group. You can always check the metadata, in other words, a description of this data by looking at, click on the three dots and then look at the view metadata. And so here you get a description of what this group consists of right here, along with some other information about consumer behaviors, demographic traits, income, and those sorts of things. So I'm going to select the percentage of households that are Connected Bohemians displayed by zip code. And so here we have those displayed. So the heaviest concentration are dark red. I like to go up to View Actions and show the map legends, which will display the zip code in this case. We're going to come in a little closer. Okay. So here we can see some potential neighborhoods where we might want to, maybe do some marketing or outreach or see how we can build a customer base there. Now what I'd like to do is add businesses on top of that. So there are two ways you can search businesses. One, you can just use a keyword. So you could use a description like toy stores or pizza, or you can use the name of a particular business like Starbucks. But for what we're trying to do, we're trying to get all the businesses of the same type. And as you know, many businesses of the same type have very different names, and there's no unifying keyword you could use to find those. So we can browse business categories and use what are called NAICS codes. Let's go back to the research guide for entrepreneurship. There's a whole segment here on NAICS codes. NAICS is the North American Industry Classification System, and it's used by the federal government to analyze and collect data on the U.S. economy, the business economy. And it's useful to entrepreneurs to understand what other businesses exist in the same category, where they are, and get some other information about those. So you could browse the NAICS site. I've also provided a shortcut to a list of NAICS codes that are often of interest to Columbia College Chicago entrepreneurs. And so we could look at any one of these. I want to look at this one, hobby, toy, and game stores. Maybe I have a gadget that I think I might be able to get placed in a store. So I'm going to use this code 451120 to find businesses like that. And now, once I put that number in and hit enter, these pins show up. Each pin either is blank, which means there's one business, or it has a number, which means there's a number of businesses that will show up. So if I click on the pin, I can get the names of these businesses and click on any one of them to get more description. One caveat is that businesses change all the time, as you know, and especially in the time of COVID-19, it's possible that a business may have closed since this report was listed. So you'll need to confirm using the web, the business website, and that sort of thing. So now we see, if we're interested in targeting a neighborhood where we think a lot of our consumers are, who are the possible competitors or collaborators in that neighborhood. Now we can take all of these businesses and create another view, and we can create a business report. This report will list all the businesses and a lot of the details related to that. So you can export that report into an Excel file. And of course, once you have it in an Excel file, you can get rid of any of the irrelevant information, like Chicago is going to be the same for all of them. Or you can eliminate zip codes that you aren't as interested in and only hone in on the areas that you are interested in. So, as always, if you have questions or need assistance, you can ask for help at the library. Just use the live chat or email, and a librarian will be happy to help you. Thank you.